Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you today?
Fine.
Very good, very good. All right. In the last lecture, we talked about simple sentences and structure of simple sentences. Today, we're starting the first stage in writing paragraph, which is about brainstorming. As you know, one of the good skills of good writing is that writers don't start writing right away. But a good thing to start with is to brainstorm. You know what is meant by brainstorming? What is brainstorm? To brainstorm about a topic. What does it mean? What does the verb mean, brainstorm? Yes, please.
To get ideas before you write.
Okay, to get ideas. Very nice. Yes,
Think
please.
about it deeply.
Very nice, to think about the topic that you are assigned to deeply, all right, or critically. Very nice.
Collect your ideas and to know exactly what are you going to talk about.
Very nice, to collect your ideas and to know exactly what you want to write about. Very, very good. Yes, please.
To activate your thinking about everything.
All right, to activate your thinking, to activate your background knowledge about the topic. And these are all very important answers that you gave. So brainstorming, it's about generating ideas, knowing exactly what you want to know about, or knowing exactly what knowledge you have, what information you have about your topic. So brainstorming is a very important stage in writing. And today we're going to look and do some practice brainstorming about different topics. As you know, there is something called writer's block. Have you heard the term writer's block?
Yes.
It means, yes. What does that mean? It means actually, it's a common problem to my students or to the writers actually, is that they start writing the first line, the second line, and suddenly the ideas are gone. All right, there are no more ideas to think about, and this is something that is common to a lot of people, and people get frustrated because of not being able to finish their ideas, not being able to complete or to continue their ideas. So brainstorming addresses this kind of problem. All right, it actually allows the writer, such as you are, to actually think about the topic, generate ideas about the topic, collect ideas, collect information before they actually start writing. Okay? Alright, so there are three different kinds of brainstorming activities, and today we're going to look at three simple activities for brainstorming about any topic that you want to write about. The first one is called clustering. The second one is a listing technique, and the third one is free writing. Okay, what do we mean by clustering? Clustering as a brainstorming idea is very simple. The idea is that we put the topic, let's say Gaza City, in the middle of your paper, and we start drawing circles. What sort of? So we're gonna try to write a mental picture, all right, of what information do we have about this topic. For instance, I did this example for you. For example, Gaza City. Write about Gaza City, for example. What sort of information do we, or can we write about this topic? For example, we can talk about transportation in Gaza City. We can talk about the local market. We can also talk about the beach in Gaza City. We can talk about the fish market. Or we can talk about poverty in Gaza, or some interesting places. What else can we add to this sort of clustering ideas or clustering technique, or this mental sort of picture of information? We can talk about the weather, for example. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so we can talk about the weather.
And location.
All right, very nice. We can talk also about location.
The sea.
We can also talk about
Suffering from the wars.
war.
Major problems in Gaza.
The war, or the different wars Gaza has experienced over the past years.
Major problems that are in Gaza.
Very nice. Problems such as what, for example?
Electricity.
Electricity. All right. So we can talk about problems, and we can talk about problems in Gaza. Okay, and problems such as, we can say, the siege, all right, the electricity blackouts, Unemployment, for instance, okay, poverty, and so and so.
The late on the health.
Okay, health problems, okay, and so on. So here, what we did is actually trying to, or we actually generated as many ideas about this topic as possible. The next stage, stage would be to say, well, I have too many things that I can write about, but I'm not going to write about everything. It's impossible. So we start sort of crossing out the things that we don't know to write about and include the things that we write about. For instance, I don't need to talk about the local market, or the beach, or the fish market, or transportation. I may decide that, well, a good thing that I want to write about is probably problems in Gaza, problems that our people in Gaza face on a daily basis. For instance, problems. For instance, I can talk about the siege,
Location.
electricity blackout, and perhaps maybe poverty as a rampant problem in the Gaza Strip, for instance. So what we have here is trying to, this is a good way to start writing. And instead of just writing the first sentence or the second sentence and suddenly you run out of ideas, you begin like this. And this will help you organize your ideas. What information that I need to include and write about in my paragraph, for instance. Is this clear? Let me just give you another example of the clustering technique. All right, let's see. A simple thing like my favorite room, for instance. Okay, and this is something that I did. Windows. All right, and here views of the trees, for instance, or it's sunny, or view of the sky, for instance, or my comfortable furniture in my favorite room, for instance, soft bed, rocking chair, my favorite room as being a quiet room, or a relaxing bed, closet, bedroom, yellow, good size, and so on. So we can, in this way, think or try to generate what information I have, and then I start writing away, talking about, well, I'm going to talk about how it is quiet, and my bedroom, for instance, yellow and good size bedroom, for instance. And the other ideas, I don't need to include them because maybe they are for something else, not for this particular topic. All right? All right. Let's now do the first technique, which is solution. I'd like you just to brainstorm about the topic. All right? Let's do this activity right now. No, just do the activity. Think about it. Try to draw a map of your ideas on paper on this particular topic. Pollution. What sort of ideas can you generate? And then classify your ideas. So include and exclude the things that you don't want to write about. All right. Let's see. What sort of ideas did you get? Did you generate from this topic? Yes, please. Okay, we can talk about reasons or causes of pollution. Very nice. Yes, please.
Types of pollution.
Types. Very nice. We can talk about types. Types of pollution. Very nice. Yes, please. Effects. Very nice. We can talk about effects or results of pollution. Very good. Yes, sir. Yes, please. Solutions. Okay, very nice. Solutions. Very good idea. Solutions. Yes, please. Yes.
Sea and air pollution.
Say it again.
Sea and air pollution.
Sea and air pollution. Very nice. We can actually, when we think about sea and air pollution, we can include them under types. We can say sea pollution, air pollution, or we can say water pollution, or soil and land pollution. What about causes? This is a major category, or this is a major topic in talking about, or whenever we write about pollution. Causes. We can add some ideas to the causes, that is to say, different causes for pollution. Yes, please.
Several factors.
Such as what?
Factories.
Factories, yes, factory smoke. So, okay? Factory smoke. Factory smoke. All right? Very nice. Anything else? Say again. Oil spills. Very nice. Oil spills. Chemical, sort of. Chemical waste. Chemical waste. Anything else? Yes, please. Transportation, transport. Okay, and all the smoke that comes out of okay, so transportation.
Diseases. Effects.
Transportation. Okay, and noise. Because this is also another kind of pollution. It's noise. It's also another kind of pollution. And
Burning trees.
burning trees. Okay, burning trees. Very nice. So these are all burning trees and forests, for instance. All right. What about solutions to pollution problem? All right. Can we think of solutions? All right. All right. Yes, please.
Separate the industrial areas and the
Very
areas
nice.
that
Okay,
people
very
live
nice.
in.
Separating industrial areas from sort of civilian areas or residential areas. That is moving them away from residential areas, from population centers, so that to avoid sort of contamination or some kinds of diseases resulting from pollution, air pollution and otherwise. Yes, please.
Use public transport like buses.
Using, very nice. So solution to pollution resulting from transportation is to use, yes, to use more public transport and less private transport. So less private transport.
Yes, teacher.
Anything else?
Yes, teacher.
Yes, please.
Making a project between a big countries to remove the pollution.
Okay, signing agreements. For example, there is one famous one, the Kyoto Agreement. Signing agreements to eliminate or reduce pollution. All right, so signing agreements. Signing agreements. Here I'm talking about international agreements or agreements between different countries. Okay, bilateral agreements. Yes, please. Recycling as another important solution. Recycling. All right. Anything else? Yes, please.
Raising awareness about its effects.
Very nice. Raising awareness about effects. Raising awareness.
Yes, teacher.
All right. So these are, yes, please.
Punish people who make pollution.
Okay, make a sort of punitive laws, penalties for people who contribute to polluting the air, polluting the sea, polluting the soil, and so on. So what we did here, we can also talk about effects in the same way. What we did here actually is we brainstormed. We generate. See how many ideas do we have now? a lot of ideas that we can actually write about. So this is an effective technique before we actually starting writing about the topic, because it helps you know about what information you have about this topic. And this is very nice looking, right? It looks a bit messy, but it's good for your imagination. It expands your imagination before you actually start writing about your topic. So the next stage would be, well, I cannot talk about everything. Let's talk about solutions to the pollution problems. And I cannot talk about everything. Maybe I'll talk about solution, and then raising awareness, talking about recycling and using less private transport and more public transport. So these three ideas are enough for writing a paragraph, or enough for my writing. So this is a very helpful way of starting, or your pre-writing. We call it a pre-writing stage. That is to say, before you actually start writing the topic. Is this clear?
Yes.
All right. Now, a second technique is not by doing some kind of a clustering, but actually by way of listing. That is to say, it's the same ideas, but instead of drawing some sort of a visual map of the topic and all the ideas that you generated, we start by listing. For example, you write a topic in the middle of your blank paper, for example, and you start writing down, jotting down, listing all the ideas that you have about this topic. For instance, this is a topic that we can think about, and I've already done. Why I want to become a nurse, for instance, okay? Because I like science, for instance, because I like problem solving, because many jobs are available in nursing, or because it has a good salary, or because I like working in a hospital, or I want to help other people, or challenging job, or opportunities for promotion, or because I'm interested in the study of diseases, for instance, or I'm interested in the study of the human body, or because it has flexible hours, or I will always learn something new. So these are some ideas that actually were generated for the topic why I become a nurse. So this is also another helpful way, another brainstorming technique. The next stage will say, well, I want to become, or I want to write about the reasons for becoming, or for wanting to become a nurse, is because it has a good salary, okay? All right, because it is a challenging job, and because it has flexible working hours. And the other ones are discarded, are not needed actually. And these are the three important ideas that I would like to write about in my paragraph. All right? Let's see another example. How I become a successful language learner. Why is it? Why the ways to become a successful language learner? Because I can actually practice speaking with others. I should take classes. I guess I can actually guess the meaning of difficult or unknown words. Listen to radio, observe others, ask for help when you don't understand, review materials regularly, use a dictionary, and many other strategies or techniques or skills to become an effective or a successful language learner. So this is also a technique, or this is a listing technique that we can actually use in brainstorming about the topic. Is this clear? Yes. All right, let's do this activity. Let's brainstorm by way of listing the ideas that you have, all the ideas that you have about this topic, staying healthy. All right? Yes, please. All right, let's see. What sort of ideas did you get by thinking about this topic, brainstorming about this topic? Yes. Okay, so we can think about exercising, or working out. Very nice. What else? Yes, please.
Eating a healthy food.
Okay. Okay, we can say eating healthy food like good diet.
Balance.
Yes. Good diet. Eating healthy food, for instance. Yes, please.
Don't eat the fast food like hot dog and
Okay. Avoiding
fast.
junk food. Very nice. Very nice. All right, yes, please. Okay, visiting. We can say regular checkup. Visiting doctors regularly. Anything else? Yes, please. Sleeping early or getting enough sleep. I would recommend sleeping early. Unlike me, I stay up late. Sleeping early. Sleeping early or getting enough sleep. Good sleep. Yes, please.
Organize the times of eating.
Very nice. Okay, this is a good idea actually. Organizing eating time. Like, for example, 3 regular meals during the day. For instance, yes, please.
Get rid of concern and other disorders.
Say it again, please.
Get rid of concern and other emotion disorders.
Very nice. We can say avoid feeling stress. Avoid stress. Okay. Avoid feeling stress. Feeling stressed.
Yes, teacher.
And a lot of sort of psychological pressures. Very nice.
Yes, teacher.
To avoid being stressed. Yes, please.
Don't taking the medicine without asking the doctor.
Very nice. So it's sort of use. Listen to or stick to doctor's advice. Stick to listen to doctor's
Advice.
doctor's advice. Advice. Yes, please. All right. Yes, please.
Avoid smoking.
Avoiding smoking. Very nice. Avoiding smoking. And we can say avoiding all other unhealthy habits. And finally,
I think drinking water is very important.
say again, drinking water. It's a very good idea. Always getting hydrated. Always drink water. Drink water. So these are some ideas that we actually listed about the topic staying healthy. We generated these. We brainstormed about these topics, and this is very helpful because again the idea here is to know how much information that you can that you actually have about this topic, and then you can take it from there and decide which topics, which information is the one that you want actually to write about. For example,
Exercising.
steps for staying healthy would be something like,
Exercising.
I would like to talk about how exercising is a useful way for staying healthy. I would also like about, I think usually talk about good diet. Alright, and we can talk about maintaining your mental and psychological composure, mental and psychological stress-free life. Try to live a stress-free life, for example. Avoid feeling stressed or concerned about so many things, although we have so many things to worry about here living in Gaza. And here in good diet, for instance, we can actually further talk about, for example, vegetables. Is that right? Fruit, okay, or nutritious foods, for instance. For example, juice and so on. In exercising, we can talk about, for example, jogging, We can talk about jogging, running, and other forms of workout, other forms of exercise. And the same thing, avoiding stress feeling, trying to be relaxed, trying to be happy, try to find some things that make you comfortable or stress-free and so on, and relax. So these are some ideas that we actually generated about the topic of staying healthy by way of listing technique as a main brainstorming technique. Alright, the third and last technique here is something that we call free writing. What do we mean by free writing? Free writing is basically when you are given a topic, you start thinking, you start writing about it without stopping. It's free writing. You don't worry about the grammar, you don't worry about spelling, you don't worry about the organization of your ideas. You simply put all your ideas and your thoughts and your mind on paper. So you start writing freely for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, and then you stop. And then you read what you wrote and try to decide which ideas are there to choose from and which ideas can be eliminated. Alright? Let's see an example of free writing. This is an example. I won't read it all of it, but let's just look at the first 3 lines. My favorite book. I don't know where to start. I read so many books that are interesting that it's hard to choose just one. I guess I could start by talking about the kinds of books I really like. I like blah 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 blah. So this is an example of free writing. As you can see, it is not well organized. It's something like stream of consciousness. You simply started writing freely without stopping for 2 or 3, I imagine, or 4 minutes. Okay? Alright, let's see. And after that, this is another example, a problem I have. I have, of course, many problems in my life, like everybody has, but right now I'm feeling new problems, like the cultural shock. I get out of my country, blah blah blah. This is also another example of free writing. Now, after you do the first attempt at free writing, you can say, well, I don't like this sentence, for instance. It is not related. Okay? And maybe this sentence or this question is not needed. I don't need to talk about it. Alright? So here we start a process of sifting through what we wrote and deciding what is relevant and what is not related, or what is irrelevant. And after that, I start rewriting what I have already written. Alright? So this is also another nice brainstorming activity that can help us try to generate as much information about the topic as possible. Let's again do a third activity here and write or free write about this topic. Alright? The benefits of the internet in universal study. Alright, let's time ourselves. We have 2 minutes to freely write about this topic. Alright? Let's start now. Yes. Don't worry about the grammar. Don't worry about spelling or punctuation or your ideas, the clarity of your ideas. Just simply put everything that you have in mind about this topic on paper. we done? We should stop right here. That's fine. All right. Who would like to hear someone? What did you write actually? All right. Yes, please.
Do you just with the word?
No, just read us what you wrote. Read us what you actually wrote.
Communicate with the word without practice.
Okay. All right. Any more ideas?
Get knowledge.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yes, please.
Internet is an important part of our everyday lives. Most students nowadays rely on the internet in many situations. For example, students may use the internet to get information related to their studies or to get help in their studying. Also, they are using the internet channels such as YouTube to watch videos and to watch listening. The teacher are explaining some concept or ideas.
Very, very nice. Very good ideas. Very good ideas you have, Iman, here. Yes, please.
The internet is the language of this age, and it is one of the most important things in our life. The internet have many benefits. Firstly, it connected the world and make it as a small village. For example, you can talk to your friends in America from the UAE. However, that was impossible in the past. Secondly, it's a source that you can get information from about any subject, and it's a way that you can spend your time by searching for news or taking with the friends.
Very nice. Very good ideas that you have there. Here. Yes, please. Over there. Yes.
It's useful to use this media in our class and to save the time. And it's very important in our university. The student can give our information to communication to our the doctor.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Yes, please. Over here.
Internet is a useful tool in our study in university, by which we can achieve anything that we need. For example, we can make research, we can find information, and we can use the electronic education.
Very nice. So these are some ideas that you have actually written. What I'd like now is to underline the ideas or the sentences that you would like to include in your first draft or your second draft. Very quickly, in less than 10 or 15 seconds. Just underline or circle the ideas that you want to include and the things that also you don't want to include, just forget about them in this in your writing. Alright, so this is the idea of the last technique in free writing. The next step for you is now to actually start organizing your ideas and then writing your first draft about the topic that you are assigned to or that you would like to talk about. So what we did today is actually looking at brainstorming as the pre-writing stage. It helps you generate ideas. It helps you think about the information, all the information, your background knowledge about this topic. And we talked about three important techniques. Clustering as an important technique, listing, and free writing. Before we finish our class today, I would like you to brainstorm about the topic I'm going to write on the board using any one of these three techniques. Let's write about this topic. The last war on Gaza. Okay, this is a topic that you can actually brainstorm about using clustering or listing or free writing brainstorming technique. Yes, please, very quickly. I'll just give you 1 minute or two to actually brainstorm using any of these three techniques. The last war on Gaza. right? All right. Let's see. How many of you did actually use the clustering technique? Just hands up, very quickly. All right. This is not a popular technique. I like it, although. All right. How many of you did actually use listing as a technique? All right. How many of you did use the free writing technique? Very nice. How many of you did not use anything? Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. The last one, Gaza. How? Let's just generate ideas, either clustering or free writing or listing technique. Yes, please.
The effects, the number of citizens, how long the war was.
Very nice. I'm listening to your ideas. Yes.
Maybe the causes.
Okay, causes of the war, for instance. Okay, victims, numbers of victims. Numbers of victims. Okay, suffering. Suffering. All right, yes, please.
Shortage of basic needs.
Okay, shortage of basic needs. Of basic needs.
Ceasefires.
That ceasefire. Ceasefire.
Damages.
Yes, damage, destruction. All right, huge destruction. Destruction of homes
Yes, teacher.
and schools. All right, yes, please.
Amount of weapons.
Amount of weapons formed. Okay, bombs and weapons. Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, please.
Killing children and
Okay, killing children.
and men.
Killing children
Yes, teacher.
and women, of course. Yes. Yes, please. Refugees, displaced people, thousands of displaced people. All right, thousands of displaced people. Trauma, for instance. Yes, please.
Arab world reaction.
Arab world reactions, or we can talk about international reactions as well. The role of media role of media, especially international media. Very nice. Yes, please.
How we make the resistance.
The resistance to the occupation. Resistance. Very nice. Yes, please.
How long it stays.
Okay, the duration of the war.
Yes.
During the duration of war. Duration. How it lasted, how long it lasted. And finally, sorry? The prisoners, alright. Prisoners. Prisoners of war. Alright? Very nice. So what we did here is actually, again, it's just a third and a last example of the brainstorming activity using listing. I see that's just another easy technique. So next time, just to sum up what we just talked about in this class, next time, whenever you write about something, whenever you're given a topic, don't start right away. Allow yourself enough time, maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to think about the topic, to generate ideas, to think what information you have about the topic, and try to classify, to organize all this information. What ideas do I need to include in writing about the topic, and what ideas do I don't need to include, need to exclude in writing about this topic. This is an effective strategy that all good writers actually employ whenever they actually write. Is this clear?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, and inshallah I'll see you next class. All the best.